Welcome back, traders, to this installment of Nasdaq 100 weekly highs, weekly lows technical analysis. This video is in preparation for week commencing the 18th of November. So we want to make sure that we are as prepared as we can possibly be to take advantage of any opportunities markets throws our way for that coming week. So with that said, make sure you drop us a like, especially if you find this content useful, and naturally if you do, you would definitely hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification and do all of that cool stuff as well. So with all of that said and done, let's get straight into the business of the analysis for today. So on Friday, it looks like market gave us its low. So I was of the mindset that this was the high. I was waiting for a low to come in, right? And actually the low came in and we got that low on a Friday. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this over just to close off this week just gone in preparation for tomorrow. So we locked that in place, right? I'm going to clean all this area up right now, but before I do, just a quick recap as to what we was doing in this area. So as you can see, we have a descending channel right here, right? Now the idea was, at the time of the recording, because of the channel, that I thought price had a high probability it was going to push up because it had gone into the FVG zone, which is this blue area right here. And as we can clearly see, price has blasted through the FVG zone and it's gone into the second FVG zone, right? Now these FVG zones are derived from the day, and we're just gonna obviously tinker with them a little bit. So this one here is gone, so we're gonna get rid of that, and we're gonna keep this one active, and we're gonna keep the one below active as well. Hopefully it will give us some type of insight as to what we can expect moving forward from Monday onwards. So let's begin the cleanup. So first, let's get rid of this FVG because we no longer need that one anymore. It's been violated. These levels up here are no longer relevant because those two will come in handy maybe later on, but not now. Okay. And the weekly high level that we had for the previous week, we're going to get rid of the label, but we're going to keep that in place. And what's this one? Okay, so we're going to take this one out as well. We're going to keep the levels for the FVGs, so I'm just going to move those levels over here. We're just going to move those levels over here, just to try and keep this area as clean as possible. And we're going to get rid of this label for the weekly low. And the first thing we're going to do now is we're going to lock in the new weekly high that was set for us on Monday last week. And then we're going to lock in the new weekly low that was set for us on Friday. Okay, and I'm going to assign labels to them later, but before we do all of that, we're going to jump into the day and see if we can spot any bearish FVGs that may help us moving forward. So from the day, I can only see one FVG right now from the day, and that is from here to here. So we're going to lock that in place so we can track that one also. Right, and we're going to make this one red just so that we know that this is a bearish FVG and these ones here are bullish FVGs, right? So as it stands, this is where price is right now. Okay, this ascending channel looks like it wants to break down. I was always thinking that it was going to push up, right? It was going to push up to the upside, but it looks like it wants to break down. So let's just have a look to see if there's any reason why it may want to go up even higher, or if it's just going to come all the way back down again, right? So as we can see, this weekly high over here, which was the previous high point of market, has been taken out nicely. This was done the previous week, so I'm pretty sure I mentioned that, right? That I believe that price was going to push up forever, and it looks like it's reverse, right? Market does what market wants to do. Never forget that. Right? Never forget that. Market does what market wants to do, regardless of how good our plans are. Sometimes it just throws us off, right? So we've got the daily FVG right here. We've got the bullish and the second bullish. So let's assign labels to this one over here, so we know what we got going on in that area. And whilst we're doing that as well, we're going to extend this out a bit more. Okay. Yep, I'm going to extend this out a bit more. And we're going to extend this one out a bit more as well. Okay. And then we're going to assign labels to these. Okay, so the new bearish FVG that we want to keep an eye on is this one over here, right? And that is 20985.6. That's the high side of the FVG, and the low side of that FVG is 20906.2. Okay, and then we have the weekly low that was set for us. Now this weekly low is contained within the FVG. Okay, so that one there is super important, especially if price takes it out next week, right? So that number is 20325.0, right? That's the weekly low over here. That's in reference to the low that was set on a Friday. And then we have the weekly high that came in on the Monday, and that was at 21259.9. Now what we're waiting for, the general idea behind why I'm laying out these levels, is if you're watching and you struggle to kind of find weekly highs and weekly lows as it presents itself in real time in the market, okay, then you want to use hindsight analysis to guide you through. So with that, how we normally do it is this, really simple. If the weekly high or the weekly low is taken out, we start looking for moves in the corresponding direction, basically meaning downwards. Now, depending on how the weekly low or the weekly high is taken out, we need to assess that too. So for example, if the weekly high or the weekly low is taken out with a decent amount of momentum, okay, then it's fair to assume that it's going to keep moving in that direction. If it starts to consolidate where we see price building up, then we kind of might want to just hold off on taking positions to the upside, right? So those are the rules in regards to weekly highs and weekly lows. You want to be mindful how they're taken out, but it's really effective if you're able to master this one skill, and you can use that to navigate and do really well in the markets, in my opinion. In my opinion, it can really work out really well. I've been using it for the longest, and so far, no complaints. So, moving on to next week. What are we looking for next week? So next week, we have 3 potential areas of interest for us for next week, right? So the first is this bearish FVG on the top side. The second is where price is currently at now, which is this bullish FVG that is in. And the third is if price takes out this weekly low that was set on a Friday, basically meaning it will be visiting this FVG. Now, a visit to the FVG doesn't mean it's going to bounce from the FVG, right? Because we had one up here as well, and it blasted all the way through it. It's landed in this one. Maybe it will blast all the way through it. Maybe it will push up. Who knows? We'll figure that out next week, right? But however, if we look all the way down, we can see there is another daily FVG right here, okay? That price, from where it is, it might want to visit this location, okay? So with that in mind, this is where the weekly low comes in handy. So we know if the weekly low is taken out, okay, with any amount of force, a real parabolic to the downside, okay, especially if it knocks out this level 2, right? Then we can expect price to make his way somewhere down here. When I look to the left, I can't see anything that will stop price making its way down here. If you can, by all means, drop it in the comment section. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. But that's what I think so far. So far, looking at this situation, I think depending on what price does at the opening of market, we will see what direction it plans on moving in. And the key thing that I'll be looking for is the weekly low being taken out if it plans to do that. Okay, and if it does plan to do that, I'll expect this level to be taken out. When these weekly lows down here go, then the only stop for it is down here, in my opinion. In my opinion, I may be right, I could be wrong, but bottom line is we'll only find out as we move forward. Okay, and also in saying that, it's also important I say this: I'm not a financial advisor giving you financial advice. This is purely my opinion on what I think is going to take place in market. And it is upon you to do the research to make sure everything makes sense to you before you commit your hard-earned capital to any positions as discussed in this video, right? You really have to do your due diligence. This is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It requires work, it requires patience, and above all, it requires discipline, right? So with all of these things covered, said and done, we're going to move to the next bit, which is right about now. You should be seeing two thumbs. One of them is going to be for back testing, so feel free to go over and take a look, and the second is going to be on the previous video to this one, so make sure you check that out too. So with that said and done, and as I leave you to go check out both thumbs, I will see you on the next one.